Man, I was lost. Work was a grind. My inbox overflowed, meetings sucked the life out of me. I was drowning in deadlines, responsibility and expectation. At home it wasn't much better. Bills piled up on the counter, a constant reminder of the hamster wheel I couldn't escape. Junk food was my go-to comfort. My evenings were spent mindlessly scrolling through social media. I felt like a hamster on a wheel, going nowhere fast. Sleep was my only escape, but even that was restless. The weight of it all pressed down on me, suffocating any hope or joy. I knew something had to change. This wasn't living, it was merely existing. My life was passing by and I was just a spectator. One morning I woke up with this heavy feeling in my chest. It was a familiar feeling, a mix of anxiety and dread. But this time it was different. It was stronger, more urgent. It was like a voice inside my head screaming, "Enough is enough." That day I decided to take control of my life. It was time to stop being a passenger and grab the steering wheel. Making that decision felt like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. For the first time in what felt like forever, there was a glimmer of hope in my eyes. I knew it wouldn't be easy. Changing your life never is, but I was determined to try. I started small. I knew I couldn't change everything overnight, but I could start with one thing, then another and another. The key, I realized, was to break down this monumental task of taking control into smaller, manageable steps. So I took out a notebook, a real physical notebook, not just another note-taking app on my phone. I wanted this to be tangible, something I could hold in my hands and scribble in. On that first page, I wrote down 3 things I wanted to change. Just 3. It felt less overwhelming that way. Those 3 things were simple. Start exercising, eat healthier, and be more present. They weren't groundbreaking, but they were a starting point. And that's all I needed, a place to begin. Alright, so start exercising is about as vague as it gets. I knew that to make this whole taking control thing work, I needed to get specific. No more wishy-washy, I'll try to work out more bullshit. I needed clear, actionable goals. I decided to aim for 3 workouts a week. Nothing crazy, just a good mix of cardio and strength training. I even signed up for a gym membership. Sure, I could have worked out at home, but there was something about being in that environment that held me accountable. Plus, I knew myself well enough to know that the couch would always win if I stayed home. Next up, eating healthier. Again, no need to go full-blown rabbit food on myself. I started by cutting out the obvious crap sugary drinks, processed foods, fast food. Instead of depriving myself, I focused on adding more fruits, vegetables, and lean protein to my diet. And lastly, being more present. This one was a bit trickier, but I knew it was important. I was tired of feeling like a zombie, scrolling through life on autopilot. So I set some boundaries with technology. I limited my social media time and turned off notifications. I started reading more books and spending more time in nature. It was about reconnecting with myself and the world around me. Let's be real. We all have them. Those nasty little habits that hold us back. Mine were like old friends, always there to sabotage my best efforts. Procrastination was my right-hand man, always whispering sweet nothings of "do it later" in my ear. Then there was my unhealthy obsession with junk food, my go-to comfort when stress levels hit the roof. And let's not forget the endless scrolling through social media, a black hole that sucked away hours of my life. Breaking up with these bad boys was tough, no doubt about it. It took brutal honesty with myself and a whole lot of willpower. I replaced mindlessly scrolling through Instagram with reading books that actually stimulated my brain. Instead of reaching for that bag of chips when stress hit, I started going for walks in nature. It was a constant battle, but slowly and surely I started to win. Recognizing those negative patterns was the first step. Then came the conscious effort to replace them with healthier choices. It wasn't about being perfect, it was about progress. The power of routine. Remember that hamster wheel I talked about, the one that had me spinning my wheels and getting nowhere? Yeah, that had to go. I needed a new system, a way to regain control of my days and inject some much-needed purpose. Enter the morning routine. Now, I wasn't about to become one of those people who wake up at 5 in the morning and do yoga while the sun rises. My mornings were still about hitting the snooze button a few times, but I did start incorporating small intentional activities into my morning ritual. Instead of immediately grabbing my phone and getting sucked into the vortex of emails and social media, I started my day with a quick meditation session. It was just 10 minutes of stillness and focused breathing, but it made a world of difference in my mindset. Then came a healthy breakfast, fueling my body with the right stuff to tackle the day. I even started making my bed, a small act that surprisingly gave me a sense of accomplishment and order. My mornings were no longer a chaotic scramble to get out the door. They were a time to center myself, set intentions, and prepare for the day ahead. Facing my fears, fear. It's a sneaky bastard, always lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce and drag you back into the darkness of self-doubt. For me, fear whispered doubts about my abilities, questioned my every decision, and kept me stuck in my comfort zone. But you know what? Fear is a liar. It thrives on inaction and feeds off your insecurities. The only way to conquer it is to confront it head on. And that's exactly what I started doing. One of my biggest fears was public speaking. Just the thought of it sent shivers down my spine. So what did I do? I joined Toastmasters. Yep, threw myself right into the lion's den. Was it terrifying? Absolutely, but with each shaky speech, with each trembling word, I chipped away at that fear, brick by brick. It wasn't just about public speaking. I started taking small risks in other areas of my life, things I would have avoided like the plague before. I started saying yes to new opportunities, even if they scared the crap out of me. The freedom of no. Here's a little secret I learned on my journey to taking control. No is a complete sentence. It needs no justification, no explanation, no apology. For years I was a people pleaser, always saying yes to every request, every favor, every obligation. It left me feeling drained, resentful, and spread way too thin. Learning to say no was like discovering a superpower. It was about setting boundaries, protecting my time and energy, and prioritizing what truly mattered to me. I started saying no to commitments that didn't align with my goals, to draining requests that sucked the life out of me, and to obligations that I felt pressured to fulfill. It wasn't always easy. The guilt monster tried to rear its ugly head, whispering doubts in my ear, but I learned to stand firm in my decisions. Saying no wasn't about being selfish, it was about being selective. It was about creating space for the things that brought me joy, the people who mattered most, and the pursuits that aligned with my values. Let's get real for a second. Taking control of your life isn't a one-and-done deal. It's not a magical transformation that happens overnight. It's a journey, a constant process of showing up for yourself day in and day out. It's about discipline and consistency. There were days when I woke up feeling unmotivated, when the allure of my old ways beckoned me back to the comfort zone. There were times when I stumbled, when I fell back into old patterns, when I wanted to give up. But I learned that consistency wasn't about perfection. It was about progress, about showing up even when I didn't feel like it. It was about setting small, achievable goals and celebrating the wins along the way. It was about creating habits that supported my goals and sticking to them, even when the going got tough. Discipline was the bridge that connected my intentions with my actions. It was the driving force that kept me moving forward, even when motivation wavered. You've reached the end of my story, but the real question is, what's yours going to be? Look, I'm not going to lie. Taking control of your life can be a bumpy ride. It takes guts, honesty, and a whole lot of self-love, but I promise you it's worth every damn second. Remember that feeling of being stuck, lost, and overwhelmed? You don't have to live like that. You have the power to change your story. It starts with a single decision, a commitment to yourself to show up differently. Set those goals, no matter how big or small. Identify those nasty habits that are holding you back and kick them to the curb. Create a morning routine that sets you up for success. Face your fears head on and prove them wrong. Learn the power of no and protect your precious time and energy. And most importantly, be kind to yourself along the way. This is your life. You're the author, the director, the main character. So what are you waiting for? Take control and write your own damn masterpiece.